Yeah, but that doesn't make
it's happened in the aviation business.
But that doesn't make it right.
Sure, but do you feel that at this point in time, given the state of the industry, perhaps it would help the industry to allow FDI in?
So let me actually ask you a different question. So you look at a country like the United States of America. So you've had an operator like Southwest that's delivered profitability consistently year on year for 30 years.
Right.
And in those 30 years, many an airline in America have come, lived and gone. Has it prompted the government of the United States of America to change investment policy because companies are failing? That's my issue. And I just find it fundamentally unfair. Allowing airlines to invest, foreign airlines to invest in India in itself, we have no issues. But to time it around some people...
So you're saying the timing is wrong?
Because I think that...
Or the motive is wrong?
We think it's unfair that the government has tended to place a premium on inefficiency, and we just find it disheartening.
But do you believe there are takers in this market?
Obviously, people who are pushing for FDI must have takers. That's why they're pushing for it. Yeah. Whether they will be takers or not in the future, time will tell.
On the IPO, and once again, there's been a lot of speculation on why you're not doing the IPO, when you're going to do the IPO. You don't need the money. Perhaps you don't want the kind of scrutiny that will come with listing. Where do things stand as far as the IPO is concerned?
Talking about scrutiny, I just want to let you know that the company is obviously audited by two world-class firms. I'd like to think that our bookkeeping is as conservative as you could ever lay your hands on. I'd like to think that the company's disclosures are as stringent as you would have with a listed company.
What would drive you to an IPO? Because we understand that you did appoint merchant bankers but then shelved the plans. So, there was clearly the motivation to go public and then you've pulled back. Or was that media speculation?
But Shereen, it's like anything else, right? You explore options all the time. I mean, you look at 20 different things at a certain moment in time, and I think we are open to all sorts of options. For the moment, we don't think an IPO is an offering.
The other question I want to talk to you about is in the politics of bilaterals, and we've heard about this and speculation on how Air India was done in because of politicians playing politics with bilaterals, and the sense is that perhaps the same sort of thing is happening now to favor some companies, and it includes yours as well. Do you believe that that once again this is competitors indulging in loose stock?
Again, let me answer this in several parts. India's had a policy of companies having a moratorium in terms of being able to fly overseas for 5 years and some fleet size of 20 aircraft. I would like to think that India is probably the only country where we have a regulation as ridiculous as I just stated.
Right.
So one, we come into being. We today singly carry more customers than any other airline in India. We have completed 5 years. We made an application to the government last year in March to actually be able to access unutilized route authority to markets around the world. I believe we just got relief on a part of our application as recently as yesterday, which is exactly 12 months after the application was made. There's not a single individual in the government who can intellectually tell us why is the government reluctant to release sovereign rights to Indian carriers. Are we less national than Air India? Are we less national than some of the foreign operators who fly here unfettered? If I'm not mistaken, I think that there was a cabinet decision on this matter several years ago. So, I mean, the question is, are we flouting that cabinet decision by not allowing people to fly overseas? It's a question that really is meant for the government of India, not for us.
So how do you deal with, you like to be a low-profile entrepreneur. How do you deal with the fact that you're in a business which is dependent on government regulation, which sees a lot of hectic political lobbying? How do you deal with it?
Deal with it with a great amount of difficulty.
Is it imperative to learn to manage the system?
To an extent, yes.
Have you learned to manage the system?
Have we? I mean, I just mentioned to you that we have waited a year to get approvals.
What depresses you the most?
I think it's got to be lack of accountability. So I've been to many key decision makers in this country, and every time we sort of have a conversation, they would all say, "Yeah, Rahul, intellectually we agree with what you're saying," and then it stops.
How much of you temperamentally and in terms of working style is now part of the Indigo DNA?
I'm far removed from the business. Aditya and his team sort of run the business, and I think they do an outstanding job. I think Rakesh and I sort of set the mold up front, and then from there on it's being implemented by Aditya and the folks.
So no micromanagement?
I shouldn't
no checking your BlackBerry?
I shouldn't be saying this, but yeah, no, I think I think if there's one thing I'm held guilty for is providing people with an excessive amount of autonomy, because that's the only way to do it.
You know, coming back to the short-term story, and Q3 was a difficult quarter, Q4, do you believe that you're going to be able to close, the year with profits?
Yes, I can say that confidently. The year's over and we are profitable. Now, profits for this year are significantly lower than last year because fuel has been where it has been, but I think the company is distinctly profitable for the year. And I think the year that's just kicked off looks much more promising than the year that's gone by.
We're here to be the model of a modern global airline. An ambitious mission we
I know you don't believe in hoardings, and you don't believe hoardings can actually drive customers into your planes, but you have now started to advertise in a fairly significant manner. Were you waiting for the brand to sort of establish itself, to gain credibility, recognition before you started your advertising campaign?
I think Indigo has always believed that the most powerful sort of way to proliferate the brand is word-of-mouth experiences. And I think we continue to rely on that. We've had a few tactical ads more recently around On Time and a few other things. I love our tongue-in-cheek sort of advertising, but generally the company is I think, quite reticent about spending money advertising.
You're uncomfortable doing this, aren't you? You don't like to be, you don't enjoy your fame, you don't like to be doing media interviews, you're fairly inaccessible, it takes us a whole year to be able to get time with you. You don't enjoy this, do you?
I don't. I've got to be honest, I don't. It's just, different people are built differently. But it is what it is. The fact is I'm sitting with you having a conversation.
So you have changed that, haven't you?
Well, you guys are relentless about this, and some days you got to just give in and say, let's have a cup of coffee and chat.
So what are you most passionate about besides the airline or besides all of the other businesses that you continue to sort of drive within the hospitality category? What are you passionate about?
I think it's about doing a job well. Looking at it and feeling good about what you put together.
So what does success mean to you? How do you define success? What are the parameters that you judge your success by?
I think giving whatever you have embarked on, giving it the best shot that you can, to me is success.
Do you believe you've given your best shot?
We try every day, Shereen. I mean, it's a daily battle. You just keep going at it every single day.
So what would you say has been the highlight so far as you're concerned, your big achievement?
There are no big achievements, Shereen. I mean, life is a journey. Different milestones that happen. Some of you're making, some others that come to you on their own. But it's a journey.
But you're committed to the aviation business?
Are we committed to it? I would like to think so. I would like to think that given the commitments we have out there, we are committed to this thing for a very long term.
So what drives you to then go from famine to feast and want to continue doing that?
Yeah, I think our game at Indigo is quite simple. You've got to just make sure that during the periods of famine, you're less starved than the competition, and hope to ride the crest when you do get to a point where things start to look better. For
entrepreneurs who are watching this show at this point in time, and you don't consider yourself to be one, what is the one principle or the one life maxim that you live by?
I think you have to have honesty of purpose in whatever you sort of embark on doing, and try to do the very best you can. At the end of it, even if you turn out to be unsuccessful, at least you would have you can tell yourself that you give it absolutely everything you had. I think the biggest regret one can have is chase something and not give it everything one has, because in the unfortunate circumstance that it does not turn out right, you don't want to leave yourself with the understanding and the disappointment that you did not give it everything that you could.
Now, Rahul Bhatia, we hope that the journey will continue, the chase continues. We wish you the very best of luck with Indigo, and thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
I know it's not your favorite thing to do, but thank you very much anyway.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
This is TV18. And you're watching CNBC TV18.